Hello and welcome in. We are back here in The Sims 4 with another speed build, and we're back in Chestnut Ridge, and we are actually finishing a collection. Admittedly, it's 3 builds, but anyway, this is probably the first time I have done something that I said I was going to do. We set out to redesign and rebuild all of the 3 builds here in the Galloping Gulch neighbourhood. It's sort of the deserty kind of ones that are on top of a hill in there, and yeah, I will put the cards to all of those up in the top corners so you can check the other 2 builds out in here. But with this one, we are working on a 15 by 20 or 20 by 15, whichever way you want to put it, in here, and we're actually doing a starter home. So that proved its own little challenges, I have to be honest. It was interesting trying to work out how to get it all in with just the 20,000 budget. So you can sort of see that down in the bottom corner, and there were some changes made, let's put it that way. I set out, I had a kind of a rough image in my head of what I really wanted this to look like, and I had to kind of change it up a little bit because of the budget. Now this is also just a base game and horse ranch, which I really want to do so that if you just had this pack and you were just sort of playing around and maybe you wanted to kind of experiment living in this world or something like that, you could definitely do that in here. Now this roof section here is changing. Don't get too attached. I'm sorry to say, this had to go. Essentially, walls in this game are really expensive, and I was already going to struggle, and this is something I've actually said from the sort of get-go whenever I've done something like that, like a starter home or a fixed budget. Walls are expensive, and yeah, it proved a little bit too much, so I ended up having to change some of the roofing around, but you'll see that later on in here. Now I'm trying to get in the sort of detail work in here as well, so we using this really gorgeous red roof, which I absolutely love. It is a base game wood roof, but we're using it in with the horse ranch in that kind of a bright kind of orangey light wood texture. I don't think I've ever really used this. It feels very orangey to me. This whole sort of colour just feels a little bit too fake for real wood, I guess. But yeah, we managed to get this all into here, and we also have a red barn as well. Actually, I just said it was all horse ranch. It is not. There is a teeny tiny wallpaper change, and I've just spotted it while I was doing this voiceover. Yeah, we used the Island Living wallpaper because it was a brighter red. Oops. Anyway, I go back on what I said earlier on. In that the rest of it pretty much is all horse ranch. That I can guarantee you, I think. Anyway, now we've kind of got the outside of the shell set up, we are going to use lots of debug planting. There is a lot of debug that comes into this build simply because it's free. Which, when you want to start a budget of 20,000, it gets a little bit tight and it's a little bit squeaky. So I wanted to make it in keeping with the rest of the world, and you'll sort of see it in there with the planting and things like that. And we get in a couple of rocks which actually you do have to pay for, but they're only 4 simoleons each, and I think that's probably it in there. And we also get in a couple of trees which again are free, and it just finishes off that sort of exterior kind of landscaping in there. I was thinking about maybe putting in like a goat shed or something like that in here, or something for like cottage living, but then I kind of decided that I really wanted to do it just base game and horse ranch, so that's what we did in here. But yeah, we are now moving on. All of the windows, some of these change because we have to place in, it just didn't feel right. It felt like there was too many windows in here, so we changed that out as well. But yeah, this is where I get to change the roof. I was not happy with it, and I looked at it, and we've still got all of the interior to do with just over 12,000. I was like, we are not going to do this. That's from... Okay, I lied again. Oops. Anyway, moving on. This is where you can see I'm trying to do the floor plan, and I'm trying to get a ladder to upstairs. It doesn't work. And I think I actually changed the roof. Did I change the roof off camera? Oh, no, I haven't changed the roof yet. In there, we also get in a little car sort of truck at the front here as well, just to kind of finish it off, and it also matches that gorgeous nice red. And just finishing off these detail work in there. I wasn't particularly happy with that one, but we have this whole big wall section here that's empty, so I placed some of these down. Now these kind of empty barrels, I was going to place some proper planting in them. I have to be honest, I forgot all about them until I was doing the screenshots. And anyone who's taken screenshots of a build or anything knows, as soon as you zoom in, trees tend to disappear. So I presumed that the trees are gone. It wasn't that, it was the fact that I forgot to place them. So you do actually have just some barrels without any trees, but it kind of works. It kind of just feels like they've been abandoned and they're filled up with rain or things like that, and I think it actually kind of has an impact. So yeah, it was totally on purpose. I'm sticking with that story into here. And now, as I say, we are going to change some of the windows. It was a case of, although the windows are quite cheap, there was quite a lot of them, so I was able to save some money just by kind of moving those around. And then I've gone in and placed some shutters on those as well in there. But I felt like we needed something out the front here as well, so we're placing out some barrels. I don't know whether there may be drinking water or something like that, that maybe it doesn't have like water normally and you have to kind of go and collect water for it. This is where I delete the roof. I was not happy with how it all just looked. It was all a bit weird. I've got to be honest, we do place the chimney back and also the satellite dish from Strangerville. Yeah, in there, and then we actually use these ones from Horse Ranch just in that they don't match the roof colour, and that is one thing that was really annoying me, and it's why we didn't use them at the beginning. But I felt like we needed to save that money for the interior. So this is the floor plan. It is only a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom in here, and I think it works. It is very small. It is something that is a lot smaller than what I actually thought, but because it is with just Horse Ranch and base game, it feels a lot emptier than what I imagined it would, if I've got to be honest. I feel like I've not done a limited pack for a while, although I did do the kind of hobbit home, kind of nomad house with just Enchanted by Nature and I think cottage living in base game. And I think I said it then, that how limiting some of these packs are to actually build. It feels very empty, and you'll sort of see that as we go through. A lot of my favourite go-to items are missing from this, and it struggled as a result. I've got to be fair, I feel like I need to do more of these kind of builds to kind of then appreciate what we actually have. Like here, I've had to use the base game soap dispenser because we don't have the one for bathroom clutter, which is kind of my standard one that I would use for everything. So yeah, that's basically the kitchen done, and because it is such a short build, I've showed you pulling out all of the items that are in there as well. Now we're going to move over on to this sort of living room area out here. This is kind of the biggest sort of space wise in here, And we're getting the red sort of leather sofa in here, which I think sort of ties in the outside, inside, kind of with the colour scheme in here. And then using a lot of the, well, obviously the horse ranch sort of wallpaper on here with like the half wooden sort of buttons and stuff, and the detail on the top, I think just adds to that sort of yellowy kind of orangey wood that we've got on the outside as well. Just sort of pulling all of that in and using kind of the colours of that for the furniture pieces as well. So you'll see in like the doors, the windows, the wallpaper, the floor, it just all kind of pulls the whole sort of thing in together. But I'm trying to use as many pieces as I can from Horse Ranch and not just relying on the base game. So yeah, decoration pieces, things like that. I'm trying to get this bathroom. I knew this feels very flitty, like I'm flitting into different rooms. I'm watching the budget. We're down to just over 5,000, and I know I've got the bedroom to do. And I kind of had it in my head that bathrooms are going to be expensive. So I kind of limited myself to doing those rooms first. So like the kitchen, like the key pieces. And then I come back through and I kind of clutter it up a little bit more into there, so you can sort of see I've now got the basic furniture in. So I've got the bed, I've got the bedside tables, I've got the wardrobe, I've got the sofas, I've got the dining table. Now I can spend just that couple of minutes just kind of cluttering and kind of filling out all of those bits and pieces with my remaining budget. And I think we end up with like 400 and something odd left at the end of this, which, given the state of which I actually cluttered this, I'm kind of impressed I left anything behind. It wasn't necessarily my intention to leave anything behind, but it got to that point in the build where I was like, I can't clutter anymore. We do get out this woodworking table. This is the new one from the last rewards, and I think that actually worked in there quite nicely. We're getting a guitar and a music player in there, and not a little sideboard. But kitchen cabinets, I purposely didn't do them because I thought they were just a waste. They're not usable, they're not going to do anything, so if we don't have them, I'm kind of fine with that. But yeah, we managed to get those in, and I did want in a few more sculptures and things like that, and also some more debug items because, well, you know, they're free to get into here as well. And we place another table. There is quite a lot of seating in this build, I have to be honest, but there is no TV or anything like that. But I hope you have enjoyed this. It is up now on the gallery, and you can check me out on all social medias. The links are in the description. But I will see you next time. Bye everyone!